One local school board now has a vacancy. We'll have more on that. Plus, Carrie Schneider returns with our friends from the DuBois County Humane Society, and Dave Flynn with the DuBois County Solid Waste District is our guest this evening on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin this evening with the arrest of a Holland woman following a Monday night crash in Huntingburg. At about 8:45 last night, a trooper with the Indiana State Police came upon the scene of an accident at the intersection of Highway 231 and 4th Street in Huntingburg. The trooper discovered a vehicle blocking the southbound lane that had crashed into a tree and bounced back into the roadway. Police say that the driver of the car was not present. Witnesses on scene told police they saw a female running south on US 231 from the crash and gave a description of what she was wearing. A short time later, an officer with the Huntingburg Police Department found 55-year-old Jane Fulkerson of Holland walking on Geiger Street with a clothing description that matched. Fulkerson was taken back to the crash scene, and after initially lying to officers, Fulkerson admitted to driving and leaving the scene of the crash. Officers discovered that Fulkerson had a blood alcohol content of 0.13%, and she was also found to be a habitual traffic violator. Fulkerson was lodged at the DuBois County Security Center without incident. She faces a Class D felony count of operating a vehicle as a habitual traffic violator, a Class C misdemeanor count of operating while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor count of false informing, and a Class A misdemeanor count of leaving the scene of a property damage crash. Turning to other headlines this evening, the DuBois County Sheriff's Department is continuing its investigation into an accident back on December 17th that claimed 2 lives. The accident took place around 6 p.m. on that day near the Brettsville Junction when 20-year-old Carlisha Dooley of Ferdinand was headed eastbound along State Road 64, just east of the Brettsville Junction at a high rate of speed, when deputies say she lost control of her vehicle. Dooley's vehicle then hit a guardrail on the south side of the roadway and went down an embankment, through a tree, and possibly overturned before coming to rest on its wheels. 20-year-old Jessica Morgan of Birdseye and 28-year-old Eric Burrow of Dale were killed in the accident. Meanwhile, Dooley was arrested on December 23rd and was lodged in the DuBois County Security Center on 2 Class C felonies for operating while intoxicated causing death, 2 Class C felonies for reckless homicide, and 1 count for driving while suspended infraction. She is being held in the Security Center without bond. Now, the Sheriff's Department is currently looking for witnesses of the accident or anyone who might have seen the vehicle involved prior to the accident. Anyone who has any information is asked to call the DuBois County Sheriff's Department at 482-3522. The Southwest DuBois School Corporation now has a vacancy on its Board of Trustees. Longtime member Jerome Beaning, who represents Cass Township on the school board, recently gave up the seat after more than 30 years of service. Southwest DuBois Superintendent Mike Eineman says the corporation is seeking to fill the vacancy for this year. He says the corporation does have a timeline for filling it.
We need to have one in 30 days. So as long as we have one, I know 30 days will be up before I think our next board meeting possibly, but as long as we have someone in place, then we'll be fine, and we can appoint that person at the February board meeting.
Eineman says if no one runs for re-election in November, they would be finished with their duties at the end of the calendar year. Now, the person chosen must reside in Cass Township. Anyone who is interested in the vacancy should send a letter of interest to the corporation's central office as soon as possible. Questions may be directed to the superintendent's office at 683-3971. The future of the Huntingburg Airport has taken a step forward. Last night, the DuBois County Airport Authority formally approved the 5-year capital improvement projects plan for the airport. Now, the plan covers projects at the airport from this year through 2019. Those projects include updates to the airport layout plan, which would not start right away, Phase 1 of the Runway 9 approach project, and the first land acquisition for a 10-unit T-hangar project, among others. Huntingburg Airport Manager Travis McQueen says approving the plan is a step forward for the future of the airport.
You know, this is the annual process that we go through. Very important. In order to receive state and federal funds, this is the process we go through in order to receive those dollars later. So this is the first step to make all the projects come to fruition.
The CIP now goes to the Indiana Department of Transportation and the FAA for their approval. Woolpert Engineering informed the board that the plans can be adjusted right up until any grant agreements are worked out. Also last night, the board formally approved sending out for quotes concerning the aforementioned Runway 9 project. The board heard last night that several contractors, including Cooper Rail and Jasper Lumber, among others, were interested in quoting for the tree removal work to be done as part of Phase 1 of that project. The trees will be removed down to at least 3 feet below the ground surface, and 3 obstruction poles will also be taken out, those down to at least 4 feet below the ground. In final notes, the board approved an agreement for services with Woolpert Engineering at a total cost of $41,185, which includes $22,915 for construction services. The work will be paid for as it is completed per the agreement. Additionally, the board reorganized and named new officers at last night's meeting. The notable appointments among these are Brian Craig as president, Michael Cummings as vice president, Robert Johnson as secretary, and Harvey Berger as treasurer. The murder trial for a Perry County man accused of beating his fiancée to death is now underway. Yesterday marked the beginning of the jury selection process in the trial of 37-year-old Henry Whistle Jr. Whistle Jr. is charged with murder and misdemeanor domestic battery in connection with the beating death of his then-fiancée, 31-year-old Jamie Stowe, at their St. Croix, Indiana home back on July 1st of 2012. Now, back in August of this past year, Perry County Circuit Court Judge Lucy Goffinet ruled that insanity defenses did not apply in Whistle's case. Goffinet also ruled that Whistle Jr. is competent enough to stand trial. Whistle had previously been held at the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility just outside of Terre Haute due to overcrowding issues at the Perry County Jail. Finally this evening, we bring a couple of road closing notes for you. Officials with the Indiana Department of Transportation say crews will be out on stretches of Interstate 64 patching potholes this week, resulting in temporary lane restrictions on the highway across Warwick, Spencer, DuBois, and Perry counties. Starting tomorrow, NDOT crews will be working in the westbound lanes of I-64 between State Road 37 and State Road 61. Work will continue through this Thursday. Next week, starting on Tuesday, January 21st, crews will conduct maintenance activities in the eastbound lanes of I-64 at State Road 161 in Linville and continue eastward to State Road 37. NDOT says all work is expected to begin at approximately 7 a.m. local time and be complete by 4 p.m. each day, with all work to be completed by Wednesday, January 22nd, of course, weather permitting. To report a pothole on a numbered state route, interstate, or U.S. highway, you can call 1-800-279-5758. Additionally, officials with the DuBois County Highway Department say the 15th Street Bridge between Meridian Road and Cherry Street will be closed tomorrow morning between 9 a.m. and noon. Officials say concrete testing is set to be done on that bridge, once again, weather permitting. All right, coming up after the break, Carrie's back with our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Goofsell, and Inform with Dave Flynn of the DuBois County Solid Waste District. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.